So it's the next day, and this has dried, so we are going to take this off and see what we have. I also put on some salt, so we need to take that off. I'm not sure if that did so much, but here we can see the salt is making some marks. Just going to clean this off. So we don't get salt all over. Couple of papers that have been laying under to get flat. So now we need to kind of find the stones, and I think it's should be quite easy, but I'm not sure. Just trying to find some shapes that can work, and if you don't find any, you can make your own, but it's really easy when it looks like this. And you don't need to follow every line. You can make them a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. That way it can looks a bit more natural if they are shaped so they kind of lay together in some nice way, depending a little bit on each other and leaning on each other, but it still needs to look natural and kind of a little bit so they don't feel like they are hanging in the air. But it's my first time, so I'm not sure. We will find it out as we go, I hope. something like that. We need something over here. To bind these together. So let's make a stone. Or two. Then we maybe can do some grass or something. That will make it look more like it's in the nature in some way. So let's choose a brush that are quite small. So the next step will be to fill in all the gaps between the stones, and they are between and under the stones. They need to be darker than the stones. So I'm going to do that, and I will speed it up so you don't need to see all of it, but still show you how I do it and how I'm thinking. And I'm going to use Van Dyke Brown and probably some brown iron oxide that is a little bit lighter, and sepia. And I'm not doing it so dark to begin with. I'm just want to kind of find the shapes. But it's easier if you at least have painted one time, so it's easier to see where the in-between are. Be careful so you don't paint any stones that you shouldn't paint. But if you do that, you can just make another stone, so it's not a problem that we can't solve. See what I mean? So it more looks like it's rounded stones. I have a part here that I haven't thought of, so I think we need to kind of make a stone. It will be so much in between space if we don't do that. And you don't need to think of that the color needs to be the same or something like that. This is nature, and it looks more natural if they are differences in the colors. So that's okay. So the next step is to decide which side the light is coming from. And as I have the lightest stones from the beginning on this side, I'm going to go for that the sun is shining that way. And that means that the shadows of the stones and the sand or the ground under it needs to be shadowed from this side. So like this, the shadow on this stone will go on this side, and it's lighter on this side as the light is coming this way. So all the pieces that are around the stones need to be lighter on this side and darker on this side. Light on this side and dark on this side. And all these cracks that are so thin are getting dark. But you can see I have left lighter from this as the light is coming this way. Then the shadow is behind these stones, but the light can fall in from this edge. So if we look at this one, this needs to be lighter on that part and not in the middle as it looks like there. Then you can just go in with your brush and go in with clear water and just rub a little bit and take it off. Like so. And then take some darker color and go in from this side. So that way it looks like the sun is shining from this part, and then it's darker on this side and lighter on that side. So dark in these corners and light in that. And as always, I'm no expert on this, so I will try to do it the right way, and hopefully we will get a nice result. So dark on this part and a little bit just around the stone, as that always gives a little shadow when it's rounded. But then the rest of the part will be light, as you don't have so much shadows behind the stone. And now I have added a little bit of black to my Van Dyke Brown and Sepia. So it's a little bit darker, so every time I do a shadow it will be a bit darker. And you can also do the shadow a bit that it's really, really dark, and then just dab a little bit out. Clean your brush and go in with water and kind of soft it out so you don't have any really tough, hard edges. So let's see what we have left. This one needs a bit more dark on this side, as the light isn't going from up, it's going from the right, and then it's darker near the stone, but it has the light on this side. And maybe even should have been a little bit more light on this side. Just scratching a little bit with my brush and take off so it's not so dark, and then I'm just softening this edge a little bit. So we have some small cracks on this side that needs to be darker, and this one. And on this side. Taking off some color, cleaning my brush, and then just soften the edge of that shadow that I have just made. And all the small cracks get really dark color. And the left side of the stones. So they still get a shadow as the light is low and coming from the right, so a little bit of a shadow near the edge of all the stones. So now we're going on to the stones before we do it any darker. And it's the same thinking of this, that you have the lightest color on this side and the darkest on that side. So this one needs to go darker on this part, as the shadows will be on this side and the light on the front from the right. And when they have these parts that are a bit white, I'm leaving that for now, so they have a little bit of details that are lighter. I think that will be nice. And now you can see, as I'm doing this one darker on this side, this stone looks a lot lighter, and you can see it really well. And I have added a little bit of blue now into these brown color I have had on the background. That makes it a little grayish bluish, depending on how much blue I use. I'm using a bit Prussian blue and a bit of Payne's Grey that is from Renaissance. That color is a little bit more blue than Winsor Newton's. So it's a more bluish tone, and then I'm adding a little bit of black to give this blue grayish tone. And blending it with brown. And now when you see that I'm putting the shadows on the stone, they get darker, so we will probably need to add even more dark to the background to get it to look natural. But that's why I'm moving on to the stones first, so I can decide how much more dark it needs to be. This has kind of a really harsh edge where from the beginning where the plastic wrap has been. So I'm just taking a clear brush and trying to see if I, probably not, but maybe I can lift a little bit of color of that edge and make a little bit lighter tone. If you have a really good watercolor paper, it often isn't any problem to lift even a few days after you have painted. I painted this last night and it was quite late, so I didn't want to do any lifting that late, so I just left it. And but I think this will work anyway. The hardest thing, I think, is to not put on too much color the first time. Instead, use layers and get it darker as you work with it. It's easy to just go in and put in a lot of dark color, and everything will get black in the end. And I'm dabbing off a little bit now and then when I think I have put on too much color. Better to do it twice or 3-4 times than to add everything at once. It's really easy to ruin it with both too much color and too little color, but in watercolor you can't get the light back, so you need to be careful when you put in your colors, because you can make it darker, but you can't make it more light. You can with some gouache or white acrylic paint, but if you want to try to use your watercolors, you need to be careful. Work with the water and try to not make the shadows with a really strong edge. Use a lot of water and let the paint do its thing. So we are moving from right to left and doing the same thing on all the stones, and then I will be back and we can continue. So a few more layers and a few more darkened stone, and I think we are done. So layers and layers until you kind of find it realistic, or as much color as you like. You can of course do red stones and blue stones, but you know me, I'm kind of neutral, so a bit boring, but so I'm thinking maybe some splatters to make it. Let's protect the space around it so we don't have splatters of small stones all over. And I'm thinking, should we even go maybe with some white splatters? This is white acrylic ink, but I think I want to just put a little bit on my palette so I can use a brush and maybe kind of have a little bit of control. Just looking for a brush that can work. That's not coloring. Not much, but something that make them look a bit realistic. Especially where the sun is shining. That, and then I'm going to take the dark and just take away the white that are on the dark spots where I don't want them. It's not shining white into the holes, so I'm just dabbing that away. And then I just put in a little bit of green, some grasses, to make it look like we have something more than just stones on this spot. And I'm not sure if I maybe should just do a little wash. More brownish. Light so you don't even see it, but I don't like the totally white edge. And this little tone of dark make it more calm, I think. This part can even be a bit really light green. Just so we have something that happens when we pour the tape away. You probably even don't see this. Okay. So I hope you will try this. It was really fun with these stones, and you can, as I said, do them in different colors and do them in different shapes. Spread them out on a big beach or something like that. I for sure going to do this more because this was fun. I did just see a line that I didn't like, that was a bit hard. Changing that. I could probably do some small adjustment on this forever if I would like to, but this was just a test and I had fun, so that's good enough for me. So I will show you some close-ups and how it looks when it is dried and we have taken off the tape in some pictures in the end of the recording. Thank you for watching and see you soon again. Bye bye from Sweden.